Hey, what's going on everyone, and welcome to this course. I hope you all are as excited as I am to get this project started, and I hope you enjoyed that intro video. That was something that my video editor and I put together. We had a little bit of fun with that, so just wanted to make that something cool to show off. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the contents of the course. Let's go into the prerequisites, and I also want to demo the product for you. So I believe that this is a course for all skill levels. Technically, it's a Django beginners course, but for those of you that are more advanced, we're still building out a real cool project. So there's going to be a lot of features in it and some advanced concepts towards the end that you can learn about. So for those of you that are complete beginners, maybe you've never even heard of Django before, you're just interested in trying to figure out what it is, this is the course for you because we are starting from the ground up to learning about Django, to setting up our first project, and then we'll just move along the way, going step by step as I teach you through the process, and then we'll just kind of advance from there. So for you people that are a little bit more advanced, anybody that's maybe built out a couple of Django projects, this is still going to be fun to build, so just fast forward through the parts that are maybe more elementary for you, or just skip ahead and focus on specifically building the project itself. So let's talk about the course contents now. So the course is going to start from the basics of learning what Django is. We're going to learn how to set up our first application, and then we'll go into rendering out templates. We'll start adding a database and actually working with CRUD operations. So create, read, update, and delete. We're going to start modifying the database and actually building things out. So once we have our database set up, we're going to move on to static files. We'll learn how to add in HTML and CSS into a Django project, how to configure all that, how to let users upload content, so things like images for a profile, for a project, and then we'll move on to actually styling our website. So we'll actually learn how to install an entire theme. So once we have our theme installed, we're going to work on authentication. So we'll build in a registration page, a login page. We'll even restrict access to users that aren't logged in. And we're basically going to move on to all things users. So users can update their profile picture, update their bio, add a project, add a skill, modify this data, and so on. So once the user side of things is done, we'll move on to basic functionality of the website. So sending emails on registration, resetting passwords, having a search bar, adding pagination, and we will finally close out by building out an API for this application. So that's going to be the last step in the process. We'll learn about serializing data, using JSON web tokens, and we will deploy the project here. So after deploying, we will work on class-based views, but those are going to be considered like bonus videos. So anything that I want to add to the project later, we're going to add after deployment. So I'll get user feedback, any recommendations that I have from you all, I'll add those, and those are going to be added to the end of the project. So let's talk about prerequisites and what you need to know before getting started. So to get started, you really don't need to know that much. You don't need to have any Django skills. Ideally, you would have some Python skills. You would understand just the basics of Python. You don't need to be an expert, but Django does use Python syntax. So just the basics of functions, classes, lists, dictionaries, setting variables, and stuff like that will get you ready to actually get started here. Now, HTML and CSS, you should understand how templates work, how to maybe add some basic styling to a page. You don't need to know a lot about this, but some basics of HTML and CSS and just how the web actually works. Not a lot of details here, but we will be going over things like HTTP request. I'll be explaining this a little bit along the way, but you should know the difference between a post and GET request. So the basics of HTML, CSS, and Python. Now, this project will be on GitHub, so if you know what GitHub is and how to work with that to download it, that would be useful. But really, that's all you need because we are starting from the ground up. Okay, so now let's actually take a look at what we're going to be building in this course. So this website is simply like an online directory for developers to create a profile and share their work. So if we look at the first page here, this is the default homepage. Down here, we just have a list of profiles with some descriptions, and we can see certain skills that a user has. We see our pagination down here, our search bar up here, and I can even try searching for a developer by a skill. So let's say I want all Django developers. So this will give me all Django developers, and at this point, it returns back 4. What if I want to search up a specific person? So for this, I'll look up Shuvo the designer. This is actually the designer that built out this entire template. Great CSS developer. Love this guy. So big thanks to him for putting all this together. So Here we have an account of a specific developer. So I can actually send him a message. I can write him something. This will go into his inbox. Right here, we see his bio, skills, and projects that Shuvo has worked on. So if I click on a specific project here, I can see a live link here. If he has source code, that will also be provided. Down here, I can see a description about the project, and I can vote on this project. So let's say I want to leave a user a review. What I could do is I can give him an up and down vote, and this information will be added here, but it will not be seen. So nobody will ever know how I voted. If I actually want to comment, I can just say nice work, and that'll be seen. So we'll just say nice work and we'll comment. We'll get this message here. We can close that out. And because I left a comment, we can see that here, but no one will actually know how I voted. So let's go ahead and go back up here, and let's actually go to our projects here. So our projects, we have the same layout here. We have a search bar, pagination down here. So actually I can navigate through these. I can go to any project here. Let's say I want to find all projects that Shuvo has made. So I can go to Shuvo. So the search bar is actually pretty intuitive here. It does a lot. So we can go by developer. We can go by a title. So I can go start typing in yoga. I think that's supposed to be with an A. Yoga Vibe here. I can get all projects that use React here. And there we go. So pretty intuitive search bar here. If I go to my own account now, I can go ahead and go into my own account. I can modify it. So a profile here, if I go to a profile, it looks like this right here with all my links. But if I go to my account, it's pretty much the same layout, but with a different setup here. And I can actually add all my skills here. So I can add a skill, modify it, and update any project that I have here. So let's say I want to update my profile picture. I can go in here, select a new file, modify all the links here. If I want to check my inbox here, I can go in here, see the messages. So I can see that I have 2 read messages, 1 unread. So if I click on this, I can read it. Once I read that message, this is now marked as read. So let's go ahead and log out now. We have this logout page or the login page. We can register. So if you don't have an account, you can hit sign up, register here. This will log you in automatically after registration. And we can also reset our password. So let's say you forgot your password. You can go here and this will prompt you for an email. You can add in your email and then some kind of message will be sent to you with instructions on how to reset a password. Another thing is when a user registers, you will get an email thanking you for registering. So that's something else that we're going to learn here. So that's the entire project. So this is what we're going to be building. And with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about what Django is, and we'll start with an introduction to that.